What's up YouTube? This is Andrew with Programming Liftoff, and today we are going to complete part 2 of the Qt calculator tutorial. In this part we're going to use PyQt to continue the implementation of our calculator, and by the end of this video we'll be able to run our PyQt application and view the calculator, but we won't have any of the buttons implemented yet. Alright. So in the last video we used Qt Designer to create our calculator interface. In this video we're going to make a small update to the interface. So if you open up the project that we made in part 1, double click the UI file, we're going to make the button names a little more readable. So we'll leave the push button at the beginning and we'll just start with the clear button and add _clear. And then for the plus minus, we'll just call it plus minus. And the percent will be percent. And then we'll do divide. Multiply. Subtract, add, and equals, and then we'll do decimal, and then for the digits we'll do 0 through 9. And as you can see, the 6 didn't get renamed. That is, let's see. Yeah, so the 9 button is already named push button _6, so we can't have two buttons with the same name. So we'll just call that 91 for now. We'll rename the 9 to the 9, and then we'll be able to change 6 to 6. And then 7's already 7. 8 is 8, and we just changed 9 to 9. Alright, so now we'll save this file. You can just do a file save. And alright, now that we made that update, we're going to create our project folder for our PyQt application. And to do that, we're going to use the PyCharm IDE. You don't have to use an IDE, you can just use a text editor. And you can use a different IDE if you want, but in this tutorial I'm going to use the PyCharm IDE. It's pretty popular for creating Python applications, and it integrates well with PyQt. So if you don't have this installed yet, you can go to jetbrains.com and download PyCharm. The community edition is free. The professional edition costs money, so you can decide which one. I'd recommend starting with the free version. Also, if you're a student or they have discounts for other like teachers as well, you can go to their jetbrains.com/student and check out you can actually download the professional version for free, so check that out. Alright, and once you have that downloaded, launch it and we'll create a new project. This will just be a pure Python project. The location, you can pick a location with the 3 dots on the right, but this is where I want to make it, so I'll call it PyQt calc. And then you can select the Python interpreter to use. I've installed PyQt5 for Python 3. So I'm going to leave it on the Python 3 interpreter. And then you'll click create. Alright, so now we have our project folder created. Next, we're going to convert our user interface. So we'll go back to Qt. We're going to convert this user interface file to a Python file that's compatible with PyQt. So to do that, we're going to open up the terminal. I'm on my Mac, so I have a terminal. If you're on a Linux machine, you'll have something similar to the terminal. On Windows, you'll use the command prompt for this. But the command should be the same no matter what platform you're on. So first we're going to go to our Qt project folder. So I have that in my calculator folder. Alright, so I can see my Qt files. So we're going to need to convert the main window.ui file to a Python file. So to do that, we will use PyQt5. This program comes with PyQt5. And we'll convert main window.ui and do -o to output a specific file, and we'll call that file UI underscore calculator.py. Alright, so now we just generated our interface file for Python. So now if we open up Finder, we can browse, we can go into the calculator, and we can see that Python file created. So now we're going to add that to our project that we created in PyCharm, and I named it PyQtCalc right down here, so I'm going to just add that to the project just by dragging it into the folder. So now we can go back to our project and we can see that it's there. This is our UI file that was generated. You can see there's a warning, all changes made to this file will be lost. That's because it's automatically generated. So if you want to change this file, you should just update the UI file in Qt and then regenerate it with PyQt5. But we're just going to make a small change to this file and rename the class, and we'll call it UI underscore calculator, and we'll save that. Alright, now we're going to create a new file, so we'll just do file new. It'll be a Python file, and we'll call it just call it calculator. Alright, so we'll add some import statements. Alright, so we'll import Qt widgets from the PyQt5 module, and then we'll import UI calculator from our UI calculator file that we just made. And now we're going to create a class. And we'll call it calculator window, and this will inherit from two classes. The first will be QMain window because we created our user interface as a main window. And then we'll inherit from UI calculator because we want to access the user interface that we created to be displayed as a QMain window. So now we're going to define an init method. Alright, and the first thing we're going to do is call super init. And what that will do is that will call the init methods of the base classes, QMainWindow and UI calculator. So once we have those initialized, then we're going to call self.setupUI. And this is part of the UI calculator class, and this will create the user interface that we designed. And then self.show will show the user interface on the screen so we can see our calculator. And then this init method will be called whenever we create an object of type calculator window. So if we create an object, it will be created and shown on the screen. Alright, so now we're going to create a new file. It will be a Python file and we'll call it main. So we're going to add some imports to this. Alright, so this last one imports the calculator window class that we just defined in this calculator.py file. And then this one's used for PyQt, and sys is a built-in Python module that we'll be using. So first we're going to create an application object. And this is the syntax for creating that. For all PyQt applications, you'll need to create an application object like that. And then now we'll create a calculator object. And finally, we'll run our application. And it's common to embed this application execution statement inside of an exit statement. So when the application is done executing, it will exit. Alright, so we create our application here. We create an object of type calculator window, and when that's created, the init method is called and the screen is set up and shown to us, and then we execute it to start running the applications until we exit. So we can right click now and click run main, and now you can see that we successfully brought our calculator interface into PyQt. So as you can see, we haven't implemented the buttons yet, but we'll do that in the next video. Once you run it once, this button will be green up here, so you can click that to run your application anytime. So that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next videos.